Hey, what's up you guys, it's Kyle, and I wanted to make a video regarding the best way to look for an investment property online before you even go and check out the house. Now, before you do anything, before you even think about how much money you have for the down payment and what your purchase price is going to be and where your location is going to be, the most important step in this whole process is to go and smash don't even just annihilate the like button down below. That is your first step in looking for an investment property. So let's get right into it, and I'm going to show you an example of actually me searching for an investment property online. But before we do even that, go and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you have not done so already. Also follow me on Instagram. I post there pretty much daily, so you can get other aspects of my life as well. And here we go. So step number one, the first step in the whole process is to figure out how much money you have down. So that's the most important step, because you're in most cases going to need 25% down for an investment property. So for instance, you're looking for a 500, say you have 125,000 that you want to play with, you feel comfortable putting that as a down payment. That is 25% roughly of 500,000, because 10% is 50,000, 100,000 is 20, and then you got 125,000. Now you're going to need about 10,000 more or so for closing costs. You got to factor that in. So roughly around 135 total to be put down. Now, the only difference is that can be less if it's going to be a primary residence. Now, I'm not going on the record here saying that you buy investment properties as primary residences. I'm just saying that that is one way of doing it, so that, like, if you're going to say live in the one unit, say you want to buy a 3-family, you're living in your parents' house, you want to buy a 3-family place, and you are going to live in one of the units, rent out the other 2. That's how you're going to get your start in investment properties. Well, then you only need about 5 to 10% down, which really could amount to 25 grand to 50 grand on a $500,000 place. Now, next thing you want to do, step 2, is calculate the monthly expenses. So for instance, say a $50,000, $500,000 place, and you're going to put 25% down. Now, the mortgage and insurance, or the mortgage and interest only might be $1,500, $1,600 a month. But then when you calculate the $7,000 for the year in property taxes, that's going to be monthly paid for in your lump sum. So you look at that as well as your insurance for the property. So now that might be another $700, $800 a month for taxes, and then another $125 for insurance, and then you might have another $100 or so for utilities. So now you're creeping up from the $1,500 to maybe like the $2,600 a month or $2,400 a month range. So just take that into consideration and figure out your monthly payments first. Now you can basically go into any mortgage calculator. Go to Zillow. Zillow has an app. I'm going to show you how to do it real quick right now, and that's your next step to know what your monthly your monthly nut is going to be when you do put down that 25% or so on the property with the amount you're looking for. So step 3 in the whole process is to look at the properties that you want in the location that you want to be in and look at the rent rolls. That is the next step. So for instance, say you have that 25 nut, and that's what your all-in is going to be with property, with mortgage, interest, blah, 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 mortgage, interest, property taxes, and insurance, and that's your monthly nut, $2,500. Now you find a 3-unit building in the area you want to be, and the rent roll is, say it's $1,200 each unit, so that's $3,600 a month. Now your nut's going to be $2,500, so that's $1,000, maybe $1,100 over all your expenses. Now anybody can obviously see that. You don't even need to go into cap rate and all that crap. That's more for bigger properties. Anybody can see that's a great investment. So that's the next step. You want to make sure, because even if one of the units is vacant, you will still be basically breaking even, and that really would help you sleep at night, because sometimes you do have vacancies, and sometimes they leave the place like crap, and sometimes you got to evict them, and sometimes they don't pay their rent, so you might have to eat a couple months. So at least this way you will not be going under and putting in payment to the investment. Now, number 4, this is typically what I look for last, but some people look for it first. It's the location. So if I know that's in a good location, now if the property is in fantastic shape and it's not as the most desirable location, not meaning it's a bad location, maybe it's not on a prime road, a main residence near public transportation, I think it's a good investment just because of the return on your capital. Now, some people look at location as the first thing. Now, don't get me wrong. If it's needs a little more work, but it's like the most ideal location next to a train to the city or something like that, then maybe there's more upside that can be had. You can fix it up a little bit if it's just cosmetic. But a lot of people, some people will look at the investment, the location first, and just figure, okay, this is probably going to appreciate more. I'm probably going to be able to garner higher rents eventually in the future. So it's one of those appreciation plays where you think it's in the future going to create a higher return. I'm just so happen to be like, I look at the other things first, and then if it's in the location that's really ideal, it's just icing on the cake, and that's step 4. All right, so real quick, we're gonna go into me looking at properties right now for an example. So check this out. So, okay, in this video, I wanted to go over how to look up rental properties, the whole process of basically looking up rental properties, seeing what's out there, kind of how to gauge to even want to look at them in person anyway, where they're at. So, you know, depending on location, depending on some kind of calculations, you can kind of see right off the bat if you even want to look at those properties. So I'm going to look here. You know, we're in the greater New York area. I'm looking in Hudson County, Weehawken, Hoboken, West New York. I'm going to look up from like 500 to, let's say, 1.1 million. That's kind of where I want to stay in. I'm going to go probably 3 and 4 families. I like more the better. You know, 2 families are okay. I can put them in the search, but I like if they have like a bonus unit. I'm more of a safe guy. I kind of like, that's why I like multifamilies instead of condo units, because if something happens with the market and you can't fill that and you just don't have a renter, you're eating the whole thing. So that's why I like multifamilies, because at least worst case scenario, usually one's not rented. You're just about breaking even if you're looking up the right thing. I have a couple rental properties that literally one could be, you know, they're 3 units and one could be rented and, you know, it's paying for the mortgage and paying for the overhead. So the other ones are just bonus when they get there and get rented. So I'm going to look up there, JC Downtown. JC, I like Journal Square area too. So I'm up here, you know, I like being near the train, stuff like that. I leave a lot other things like bedrooms, all that stuff, you know, I leave that blank. Now it looks like there's 53 places between that search. So now we go into here, and I'll start at the low end. This has 14 pictures. That's great. The least thing I'm probably worried about here or thinking about is location. Location's like the icing on the cake here, because that's going to deal with appreciation more than likely. I could go to different areas of countries, you know, or different areas of the country and find great rent roll in not so as desirable of an area, but, you know, it's not a bad area. So anyway, that's why I look up a couple other things first. This one has 14 pictures, so that's good sign right off the bat. I'm looking, you know, I can see a lot of the house. It's kind of weird when you only have one picture of the outside. You're kind of hesitant. This you can kind of see, I guess they're showing like what the plans are, what could be done. So here's 515. I'm assuming putting 25% down, all in with taxes. I'm going to be probably, you know, pushing 3,000 a month. So if this is 20, netting 26, we're at least getting close. Then after that, so, you know, you want to take a mortgage calculator, put in, say, if you got this for 500, you put 25% down, that is 50, 100, that's about 125 with closing costs. Where are you going to be with mortgage included in that, and insurances, where you hear is 2,000, 1,200. So basically, say I was in on this with taxes, insurance, and the mortgage after putting 125 down at 28. Say that's where I was. Well, the rent here is 1,134. This is 1,500. Now, they do have the rents marked there. I like that. Some don't, and you got to wonder what that is. Then you got to talk to the listing agent. Now they're marked there. Now this is a weird number, and I don't know if that is something to do with rent control. Usually when it is a weird number like that, and it's not just like 1,500, like this looks like it might not have had rent control, or the rent control is just higher than this number. Basically, rent control, what that is you can take in the borough that you're in, you can just basically, if say these weren't rent controlled and I got 1,500 for this one unit right here, I could basically take that and register that rent. And then from that point on, I can up it every year in the borough so that it could be 1,550 next year, 1,600, 1,700. Even if the market's not deeming that and going up, I could just do that so that it's so much higher than the market anyway, and you could just keep raising them. The trouble is when people register it at 1,500 and they don't they don't raise it. So then it stays 1,500, and then 10 years down the line, you're renting this out for 2,500, but it's registered at 15, and when you go to try to sell the place, you're screwed, basically. And if you try to rent it, actually renters can almost get all of their money back that they paid over the registered rent. So, you could be in a lawsuit there. So basically you just want to check these out. 1134, I don't know why that seems like a low even for one bed around this area, but so see, we got to check on that. This doesn't look like a bad property though. Let's see what it says. 2-unit duplex close to the city, 1-bedroom unit. Units in the shades. Okay, so I know where that is. That's it is in a flood zone, but it's not bad area really. Full height basement with outside access, large yard. Walk to Limpert Harbor Ferry. Great, actually a good location. I know where this is. So close to Hoboken, Whole Foods area is building up. This has been on the market 111 days, so I don't know what that's about. If I go to another tab and I type in it's 15 Grand Street, Weehawken. So I go here and I type in 15 Grand Street, Weehawken. Okay, so Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, I know exactly where this is. This is Weehawken up here. This is actually the Lincoln Tunnel right here if we would zoom in, and this is basically, you go through the Lincoln Tunnel here. This is Hoboken, great area. So this is the shades area. It gets a little bit dicey down here, but it's in a good area that could definitely appreciate, especially if they start, I believe they're gonna build something at there's a Lowe's lumber yard right here, or some lumber house. I believe they're gonna put new apartments in. So if this could get developed a little bit more, it's kind of a weird area because it's right in between Weehawken and Hoboken, but it's basically people bus that are going to travel into the city, and now we have the COVID stuff, so who knows when that's going to come back full strength. But it doesn't look like a bad unit. I might check this to go into. So let's go to the next one. 273 Fairmount. Now this is 2-family, 524, doesn't have the monthly rent. It looks pretty nice. So now I'm just wondering, it says tenant occupied, so why didn't they put the rents there? So now I have to reach out to them. And let's see where this is, because the last thing is, so I got to check what these monthly rents are, but the last thing with Journal Square is Fairmount, Jersey City. Yeah, I mean, the thing about this section is, like, if you're not close to the path in Journal Square, it's kind of not the best. See, the Journal Square path is right here. It's not that bad of a walk, honestly. So I actually might flag that one too, just after I got to get the rent rolls on this one. It's only been on the market 6 days. It looks like it's a really nice property from the inside. So that might be something that if you can get this down a little bit, here's a bad thing. 12 by 77. That's a very skinny. I didn't even notice how skinny that was.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's like tiny town. Like, who lives there? Can't gain too much weight living there. It's like not, you're not gonna be able to fit in there, that baby. So I'm not gonna look at that one. I don't like the lot size on that one. Actually, let me go back to this one. Let me check this one out. This one, the reason I didn't see this doesn't have the lot size, but it looks like a thicker place, you know, and nothing to the side of it. Options to, I don't know, just looks like a bigger building, wider at least. So I'll still keep that one. So let's go to the next. Okay, this is 25 by 100. That's good. Journal Square, 525. Been on the market for a while. Doesn't have the rent rolls. Don't like that. Let's see what the place looks like. Nah. I don't like this at all. Right off the bat, it doesn't seem good. Now, it is a big lot. It doesn't look good from the pictures, but if I would have put in this address into Google, and it would be basically right on top of this PATH train. Now, that is the only difference that I would have definitely scheduled to take a look at, because you can, even though it doesn't look good now, it might only be cosmetic. And I mean, it does look like you need to put a fair number of work into it, and it doesn't have the cleanest tenants. That's trouble. But this is not as ideal of a location as I would want to be in. So I'm definitely going to not go forward with that one.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you appreciate this video. If you do find good information from this, please feel free to share it. And don't forget to like it right now, because that helps with the YouTube algorithm. So do that. And thank you so much for tuning in. Share the video. Leave a comment. I want to know what you think. And make sure you subscribe also. And hit the notification bell if you want. I don't care. Do it. Whatever. Guys, have a great day. I'll talk to you later.